You know how sometimes you read things separately and they make sense, but then you put them together and bam, something new clicks.
Exactly. That's pretty much what we're aiming for today.
Yeah, so for this deep dive, we've got 4 really interesting pieces lined up. There's a key bit from the Gospel of John, chapter 12.
And Psalm 27.
Right, and also a section from Isaiah 42, plus a reflection on Psalm 34 that actually ties right back into that gospel reading.
And the mission really is to see how these different texts kind of talk to each other about, well, themes like service, worship, and, recognizing true value.
Okay, so what specific bits are we looking at?
In John 12, it's Jesus arriving in Bethany, that dinner scene, Mary's anointing.
The anointing, yes.
Jesus' reaction to it, and then how the chief priests respond to Lazarus being there.
Got it. And Psalm 27.
We're hitting verses 1 to 3, the ones about trust and courage, and then 13 and 14, which have that strong sense of waiting with hope.
Okay, Isaiah.
Isaiah 42, the first 7 verses. It's that description of the servant bringing justice and light. Really powerful stuff.
And the reflection.
That ties it together looking at Mary's act, this idea of offering our best, and it leaves us with a prayer and a question to think about.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Let's jump into Bethany then, John 12.
Right. So picture this. It's just 6 days before Passover. The tension must be building,
Definitely.
And Jesus arrives. But it's not just any arrival. Lazarus is there.
The man he raised from the dead. That must have been causing a massive stir.
Absolutely huge. So you've got this undercurrent of the miracle, the buzz around Lazarus, but also the shadow of Passover looming.
And this dinner happens. Martha's doing her usual thing, serving.
Ever practical, Martha.
Yeah, while Lazarus is right there, sitting at the table with Jesus. A living, breathing miracle. It sets a really unique scene, doesn't it? Part celebration, part something else.
Anticipation. And then Mary does something extraordinary.
This is the anointing part.
Yes. It's not just a small gesture. She takes like a whole pound of this incredibly expensive perfume, pure nard.
Wow, a pound.
Yeah. And she anoints Jesus's feet and then wipes them with her hair. I mean, the intimacy, the extravagance of it.
And that reflection we mentioned describes it as a bold expression of love, worship, and surrender. That feels right.
It really does. It captures the intensity. This wasn't just a casual thank you.
No way. And the cost, 300 denarii, that detail really lands. That's like, what, a year's wages for a laborer back then?
Something like that, yeah. It underlines that this was a huge sacrifice for her. She was giving something incredibly precious, like the reflection says, clearly showing she saw Jesus's immense worth.
Which, of course, leads straight to Judas.
Judas. Always watching the bottom line, it seems.
He pipes up, right. Questions why this ointment wasn't just sold and the money given to the poor.
Which, on the face of it sounds, well, reasonable, even pious.
It could seem that way. And that's why the gospel writer immediately gives us the inside scoop.
Right. It says flat out he didn't care about the poor.
Nope. He was the treasurer, a thief, and used to dip into the funds.
It just adds this layer of cynicism to his objection, doesn't it? What looks like practical concern is really just greed.
A timeless point, really. How supposed practicality can mask self-interest.
And Jesus's response is just layered.
He says, let her alone.
Let her keep it for the day of my burial. The poor you always have with you, but you do not always have me.
Wow. So much in that. The mention of burial is chilling, looking ahead.
Definitely. And it validates Mary's act, gives it this unique, specific meaning connected to his death. He's saying this moment, this devotion, is different from the ongoing general need to care for the poor.
It's like he's distinguishing between a constant reality poverty and a singular pivotal event, his death and burial. Mary's act becomes almost prophetic.
Maybe without her even fully realizing its significance at the time.
Yeah. And the story doesn't stop there, does it? The ripples spread.
No, word gets out, Jesus is in Bethany. And the crowd comes flocking.
But not just for Jesus this time.
Exactly. The text says they came also to see Lazarus.
The man who is dead and now isn't, he's like exhibit A of Jesus's power.
He really is. Living proof, which unfortunately puts a target on his back too.
This is where it gets really dark. The chief priests.
Yeah. They see Lazarus, they see the crowds believing because of him.
And they decide Lazarus has to go too.
They actually plot to kill Lazarus as well as Jesus. Think about that.
It's stunning. They want to eliminate the evidence. It shows how threatened they felt, how much impact Jesus's miracles were having on their authority.
These were the top religious leaders, remember? They saw him undermining everything.
It creates this incredibly charged atmosphere. danger lurking beneath the surface.
And it's right into that kind of tension that Psalm 27 speaks so powerfully.
Okay, so shifting to the psalm now.
Yeah, those opening lines, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?
Such a bold statement.
The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" It's just pure confidence in God's protection.
Even when facing evildoers or a host encamped against me, the psalmist says.
My heart shall not fear. It's about this deep inner strength, right? Rooted in faith, knowing God is your refuge.
That kind of conviction, even when things look dire externally, it gives you courage.
Mm-hmm. And then later in the psalm, verses 13 and 14.
It picks up that theme again.
Absolutely. I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
Wow, that's hope right there.
Defiant hope. And then the call. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. It's this combination of trust, patience, and inner fortitude.
You can really see how that resonates with Jesus' situation, can't you? Facing all that opposition, heading towards the cross.
Exactly. There's that sense of relying on God, that inner strength, despite the external storm. Psalm 27 kind of gives us a window into that.
Okay, so we've got the drama in Bethany, the trust in the psalm.
Yeah.
Now Isaiah 42.
Right. The prophecy about God's chosen servant.
And the description is quite specific.
Very. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him and his mission. He will bring forth justice to the nations.
But it's how he does it that's interesting, not loud and flashy.
Not at all. It emphasizes this gentle persistence. He will not cry aloud or lift up his voice.
A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. There's a tenderness there.
Yeah, care for the vulnerable, even while he's faithfully bringing justice. It's a powerful combination.
And the goal is liberation.
Clearly, God says, I have given you as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners. It's about setting people free, physically and spiritually.
It's hard not to see connections to Jesus there, is it?
Right. Thinking about his healings, raising Lazarus, bringing light, offering freedom.
And his overall approach, that quiet authority, that compassion, it really echoes Isaiah's description of the servant's gentle strength.
Mm-hmm. So when we step back and look at all these threads,
we got Mary's costly worship.
It's the psalmist's defiant trust.
Isaiah's gentle, justice-bringing servant.
All playing out against Jesus's journey towards sacrifice. How do they connect for you?
Well, that reflection really helps tie Mary's act to recognizing Jesus's true worth, right? It's worship, surrender, maybe even an intuitive grasp of his coming death, offering something precious.
And Psalm 27 gives us that model of courage and faith needed in that kind of adversity, mirroring Jesus's own resolve.
Yeah, in Isaiah 42, it paints a picture of the kind of Messiah Jesus was embodying, bringing light and justice, which ironically provoked the very darkness that led to Lazarus being targeted.
It all interweaves. And that reflection we keep mentioning, it doesn't just analyze Mary, it pivots to us.
Right. It says, like Mary, we are called to offer our best to God, not for show, but from a heart full of gratitude.
And then it hits you with the question, what can you offer to Jesus today as an act of worship and love, even if it costs you something?
That's the challenge, isn't it? It's not necessarily about literal perfume.
No, it's about the heart behind it. True worship, the reflection suggests, comes from love and points others to Christ.
So it pushes you to think, what's my best in my everyday life? Even small things, if they're offered sincerely with love, they matter.
Yeah, they hold real meaning.
So wrapping up this deep dive then, these texts, together they really highlight recognizing true value.
The power of genuine worship and devotion.
The absolute necessity of faith when things get tough.
And this whole idea of being a light, bringing justice into the world, like the servant in Isaiah.
And that reflection's question lingers, doesn't it? Thinking about our own lives. How can our seemingly small acts, maybe things that do cost us something, time, comfort, pride, whatever, how can they become meaningful offerings, like Mary's perfume or the psalmist's trust? How do they connect us to that bigger story?
What's our costly ointment today?
Yeah, definitely something all over.